Good morning, fine people. We made it. It's New Year's Eve. Hope you're doing well this morning. I am the sports judge. Welcome to this channel. Did the Dallas Cowboys really beat the Detroit Lions? Or did the refs screw the Lions? A suspicious video from the Lions and Cowboys game on Saturday night is going viral on social media. The video appears to show Taylor Decker reporting properly to an NFL official, but the official ruled that Decker was an ineligible receiver, even though Taylor said he reported prior to the snap. Moments before the play begins, Decker can be seen walking over to notify him that he's eligible. Even the overhead replay they showed, you can see him talking to the official. So, okay, we're just going to ignore Decker reporting on camera and then lie, claiming Dan Skipper reported when he did not? I mean, this is an utter disgrace. These refs continue to get worse each week. They're making mistakes each week that has decided the outcome of so many games. They stole this game from the Lions. Terrible call. It cost the Detroit Lions the game. It cost them more than just the game. If there was concrete evidence that the NFL is rigged, it is now. They sure favor certain teams and certain players. The idea the NFL is rigged to have the Lions Cowboys game end like that ruined the entire night. Saying the Cowboys won this game is a bit silly. I mean, Cowboy fans will take it, no question about it. They love it in Cowboys Nation, but they had help last night. And I usually don't blame the refs for a team winning or losing. I'm not one of those guys who say this team lost to the refs and all that. I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist or a guy that finds fault in the officiating. I don't like to say a win was based on officiating. This time I am. I'm not the guy to blame the refs or say a game is rigged. But the Lions got robbed. And it's very hard to see it as a mistake. The NFL has an officiating problem. Yeah, that's the bottom line. This is the new NFL. It's got to be some kind of repercussions for these kind of calls. Whether it's a fine, a suspension, or whatever it may be. As long as there aren't consequences for these egregious calls, they won't get their act together. This will keep happening. The refs can do whatever they want. They feel they can do whatever they want. They feel they can make whatever call they want. And they feel they can decide the outcome of the game. And they have done that so many times this season. That last night was either the biggest ref screw up I've ever seen or the most blatant rigging job I've ever seen. To see the Lions come that close to winning the game, and then the refs do what they did last night is absolutely sickening, revolting. Again, horrible officiating decides the outcome of the game. This year has been the worst officiating. The refs need to be held accountable and fined just like the players. Okay, this is unacceptable. I can't count how many games these officials have ruined this season alone. Can we please start holding the refs responsible for once? Total screw up job last night. This wasn't a mistake. This was robbery. Brad Allen, a likable referee, has done a good job with his crew, but Brad Allen needs to be fired for this debacle. He made a terrible call on a 2-point conversion at the end of the game. Decker caught the pass from Jared Goff that would have put Detroit up 22-21 with 23 seconds to go in the game. I love the aggressiveness from Dan Campbell, and that play call was awesome, but after the initial penalty, you have to go for the extra point there. You have to. I think in that moment, down 1 point with a chance to tie, you opt to kick the extra point and force force overtime and give your team a good chance to win. That was crazy for him to go for a two after the penalty. It was a gutsy call, but honestly, I liked the call the first time, but you gotta change up after that. You gotta kick that field goal. This guy takes way too many chances. I love this guy so much because he's so aggressive, so passionate, and everything. It's almost like he reacted emotionally last night, and that could get you in trouble in the playoffs. And going forward, those emotions have to taper down with some of those important decisions he will have to make in big games. Everybody is mad at him for not kicking the extra point, but look, let on the flip side, let's look at it. Let's look at it from a different standpoint. Had that penalty not erased a go-ahead 2-point conversion, would we be beating up this guy? We would be calling him this offensive mastermind for that play call. An extremely emotional Dan Campbell took his post-game conference. He was livid. He was incensed. Video replay showed why after the refs negated a 2-point attempt. It's so disheartening to see the Lions lose a game this way. We've watched the Lions lose plenty of games in their own regard, whether it would be self-inflicted mistakes, bad coaching, terrible play calling, or just giving up a huge play on the final drive. And let me say this about Mike McCarthy, Dallas coach. Horrendous clock management late in that game. It was terrible. The way he threw the ball carelessly rather than running the football to eat up more clock, to take more time off the clock, it was just crazy to me. Absolutely insane. But Dallas improves to 11-5, remains in position to win the NFC East. Detroit falls to 11-5, third in the NFC. Listen, I liked the game. I enjoyed the game on both sides of the ball. I thought in the first half, both offenses couldn't really get into rhythm, but it made for an exciting football game, especially in the second half. I mean, you had the referees blunder in the end, but overall, I thought it was a pretty good game. You hate to see a game this entertaining end the way it did. A game that good should never end the way it did last night. And CeeDee Lamb, man, he had a career night. He was balling. Brandon Cooks showed up. He was absolutely clutch. Then you had Dak Prescott, who was masterful for large parts of the game. Dak was very efficient. And what I talked about in a previous video I did, I was talking about that the Cowboys would have to get CeeDee Lamb more involved. He got going early, and you see 17 targets last night, and they know in order to be in games, in order to win games, you have to get your playmakers the ball, and that was the difference in this game last night. Dallas defense showed they cannot make a stop when they absolutely need it. That can't be overstated. Now, I do like their defense. We often call them an elite defense. A defense we often say is elite. Allowed Jared Goff to march down the field and score a gotta-have-it touchdown in a 2-minute drive. The Lions, we're talking about them dropping to 11-5, but they're third in the NFC, obviously going to the playoffs. I thought they played well and matched up well against the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, they couldn't overcome the turnovers. Goff threw 2 interceptions, and if the Lions are going to be a team to beat in the playoffs, Jared Goff's going to have to play a lot better. He's going to have to do better completing his passes. A lot of things are going to have to work itself out. But just confidence, the hunger, the poise, the whole 9 yards, the Lions look really, really good. They didn't get the win, but they played exceptionally well. Dallas got 5 massive stops to down the stretch there. They keep pressure on the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, Dak Prescott and Lamb were nearly unstoppable. Cooks was amazing. And I mean, you just had the Dallas Cowboys playing a fairly good football game, but the defense got to be better. I know they had those massive stops, like I said, uh, at times in the game, but still, they're gonna have to do they're gonna have to do a lot better. Uh, Crazy game, a lot of questions to be asked. Detroit was legit right there to win the game. The ref looked at number 68 and nodded. Worst call I've ever seen. And this right here, it's just a game. Yeah, it's a game that may very well cost the Lions the second seed and possibly the first seed. This could cost them home field advantage. And here we are this morning talking about a controversial call that could threaten the playoff picture. Isn't that crazy? This felt like an insane playoff game all around. Big respect for those gutsy plays from the Lions and that final drive. Tough loss, but great effort. The Dallas Cowboys, they survived after uh, a controversial call from the officials. They got bailed out, you can say, by the officials. But you know, Dan Campbell, in a sense, also shot himself in the foot, too. He had a chance to tie the game, send it to overtime. I think you tie the game in that situation, you send it to overtime. There's a lot of things Dan Campbell could have done differently, but Dan Campbell is an emotional guy. He's going to do it his way. He has come up with that formula, and that's the way he likes to play football, right? He likes to bite you in the kneecap. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he does. That's what he does so well. But the Cowboys pulled it out. Dak Prescott was sensational once again. He has to be good. He has to take care of the football. If he does that, if he plays a clean game, the Cowboys should be fine. What needs to get better is Mike McCarthy's play calling. I don't think that's going to ever change. I think he's set in his ways. He's gonna continue to be this guy that likes to utilize the aerial attack. You know, he's one dimensional. You know, his offense is just one dimensional. That's the way it's gonna be with the Dallas Cowboys. But a great game last night. It was one of those controversial endings to a football game that has everybody going absolutely nuts this morning. It has everyone talking. But thanks for watching, everyone. I really, really appreciate it. I'm wrapping the video up now. It's been real. You guys will probably see my face again sometime today. I'll be back with more content for you. And before I do check out of here, I just want to tell everyone to hit that subscribe button for me. Make sure you smash that subscribe button so you can keep up with upcoming content from me. Thank you, guys. We'll talk very soon.